I want to give a special shout out to my main my main man, top photographer, top videographer in the world, Joshua Brown, Josh Brown, Black Seeds Entertainment. My name is Chef Carl Redding. I'm from Harlem, New York. Grew up in the Polo Grounds, 155th Street, 8th Avenue. Went to St. Aloysius Grade School, and then I attended Cardinal Hayes High School. Went into the military. I was inspired to cook as a child. I started cooking when I was 6 years old. My first dish that I cooked was biscuits. My grandmother taught me how to make biscuits when I was 6 years old, and I remember learning how to make those biscuits in her kitchen, on her kitchen table in Dothan, Alabama. And I also remember after making those biscuits with my grandmother, I made them the following. My mother would send myself and my two brothers to stay with my grandmother during the summer months. And so after that particular summer, I remember that the following Mother's Day, I made breakfast in bed for my mother. So I was 7 years old, and I made biscuits and I made coffee for my mother, and I served it to my mother in bed. So that's how I really got my start. I used to love watching my grandmother in Alabama cook in the kitchen, and I think for some reason I used to feel sorry for her because she would be the only one in the kitchen preparing all of this food for her grandchildren and her husband, my grandfather, and other people. Sometimes on Sundays, the pastor would come over to her house after church, and you know, just a boatload of people would come over, and she would prepare all of this food. So I would ask her if I could help her in the kitchen, and I became my grandmother's little helper in the kitchen at a very early age. After having worked for Reverend Al Sharpton, prior to me opening my first restaurant, Amy Ruth's, I worked for Sharpton for 9 years, and I was tired of that work, and I wanted to do something for myself. And I thought that what better way, or what other thing that I could do, and that was cooking and baking for myself and for other people. So I didn't want to take on an office job, and I just wanted to go into business for myself. So I decided to open up my own restaurant, knowing that it would be difficult for me to work for someone else. I opened up Amy Ruth's, and I named it after my grandmother in honor and memory of my grandmother, who taught me how to cook and how to bake. Well, that was my first restaurant. Amy Ruth's is still open. I sold it several years ago, and it's still in Harlem on 116th Street. But I've since then opened up other restaurants. One of the restaurants that I opened was in Englewood, New Jersey. It was called Ruthie Mae's. It's no longer around. And then I've since opened up another restaurant in Atlantic City, which was open for 2 years. And that restaurant made me I'll give you two tidbits of history. That restaurant in Atlantic City was called Redding's Restaurant, named after myself. And it was the largest African American owned restaurant in Atlantic City, probably in southern New Jersey at that time. But I'm here today. It didn't work. I thought that it would work, but we keep on marching to the beat, to the drums of God. That's who I march to, the beat of. The other tidbit of history was Amy Ruth's opened up I opened up a secondary location in the Foxwoods Resort and Casino in Massatucket, Connecticut. And by me opening that restaurant in a casino, it made me the first African American to ever open and own a business in a casino in the world. So I was the first person to ever, as an African American, to open up and own a business in a casino. And that business happened to be a restaurant. The thing that I tell people who aspire, you know, it's young people, it doesn't matter, anybody who aspires to open up a restaurant, is that it's a lot of hard work, and you have to put in that hard work before you open up a restaurant.